Since 2002, I've been picking Super Bowl teams. Those I want to win and those who I believe are going to win. I'm 7-7 for those I think are going to win. I'm 8-6 for those who I root to win. Thanks, Carolina. I'm finally average now. Welcome, YouTubers. This is Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and we're going to talk about the post-game of Super Bowl 50. And I mean, it's a wonderful game with Carolina Panthers against the Denver Broncos. And I got to say, what a defensive-oriented game. The Denver Broncos beat Carolina Panthers 24-10. And like I said, it was a great defensive game. Before I get into my game analysis, I wanted to sit back and give a big to both teams. I mean, defense still rules the game. I can remember 5-6 years ago where they decided, well, we're going to make this straight offensive oriented, which I hate. I feel bad for cornerbacks. I feel bad for defensive backs. I feel bad for all the backfield when they play on defense because you can't touch a guy without a penalty these days. But with that being said, I mean, you can look back in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, all the way to 2010, and to now. Doesn't anyone get it? Defenses still win you championships. Period. You had two of the probably the best defenses in the game. And of course, Denver comes out #1 defense in the game, wins you a championship. People don't understand it. It's nice, it's refreshing, because I'm more of a defensive-oriented guy when it comes down to how I like the games being played out. Unless, you know, I'm a Saints fan, I like our offense doing what they do best and score points. But besides that, I like it when a team plays great defense, when they're more defensive-oriented than anything. And this kind of Super Bowl is a grinded-out game. It's the kind of games that I like. I appreciate the love for defenses. So shouts out to both Carolina and the Denver Broncos defense. Wonderful game. It shows you that, yes, offenses still sell you tickets, a la Carolina leading the league in 31.3 points per game. But at the end of the day, defenses still give you that big fat Lombardi trophy that you want. And like I said, the Denver Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers 24-10 in a great defensive-oriented game. And it's everything that I love about football. That defines football right there. Characters. Defense still wins championships. Hello, league. Stop trying to score 40 points per game and how about you just make teams score 20 or less. On to that, man, let's talk about the Super Bowl itself. I mean, you had Carolina coming in, about the hottest team. I don't know what Vegas had them, but I know that they were the favorites. And Denver Broncos coming in as well. Not as hot, not as talked about, not as quote-unquote sexy as Carolina and Cam Newton. And they came in and did the thing. We're talking the Broncos. I mean, they put it on Cam from the start, from start to finish. I didn't know that DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller would make that big of a difference of this game. I knew that they would be key. That was my keys in my last episode. I said they can get to Cam. This game could be closer than we would expect it. I still had Carolina winning. I told everyone 30-23, somewhere in that. But boy, was I wrong. And like I said, I'm a man of my word. I apologize to the Denver Broncos defense if I made them mad. If somehow they checked Uneducated Sports Talk like, I don't like that guy. Let's prove him wrong. More power to you, to the whole entire defense of the Denver Broncos. It was crazy. So let's basically talk about the game. Basically, from jump, the first quarter, Cam Newton had no time to throw the ball, had no time to assess his reads. Everything was just, it was rushed, it was quick. He had to get it out because every 2 seconds you had either Von Miller or you had DeMarcus Ware eating at him. And I felt bad for Cam at some points. We already knew he had a kind of a shaky O-line. That was probably their only weakness besides lack of wide receivers. But Greg Olsen made it for all that. And the running game as well makes it for that too. But then against this Denver Broncos vaunted defense, yes, I'm saying vaunted, I'm thinking that they're probably a top 10 defense and probably one of the most underrated defenses that no one actually talks about until the playoffs came. You had teams like the Ravens in 2000 and the Buccaneers in 2002 where those guys had defense from the start, and that's what everyone was talking about. When basically when you heard the defense for the Broncos, you only heard Von Miller maybe a TJ Ward, and maybe a key to leave every now and then. But everyone forgot about DeMarcus Ware as well, and I forgot about DeMarcus Ware, to be honest with you. I mean, I knew he was there, he's a threat, but my goodness, he might have well been in the snap or in the huddle for the Panthers, because he knew everything. I mean, he was explosive and he could not be stopped. He was in the backfield, pretty much asking Cam how to do taxes and stuff, man. He was all up in his grill. Let's just say that. I loved it. And Von Miller, shouts out to him. People say, well, he could have made a difference in the Seattle game 2 years ago, him being out. I don't think he was. He was ready for that. I mean, he made a little difference, but this is a different Von Miller. This is, I mean, he trying to get paid, Von Miller. That's what Von Miller is, and he will get paid. He is your MVP for the game, and shouts out to Von Miller. I mean, he put it on Cam, just like DeMarcus Ware from the first snap. I mean, Cam Newton couldn't breathe. He could not breathe. And we'll get more in details about that in a second. But let's just give a shout out to the Denver Broncos for that hard-fought victory. They were the underdogs. They played like they had a chip on their shoulders, especially the defense. And let's give a shout out to Carolina Panthers defense as well. They came out gangbusters as well. Only problem is, the difference is Denver's defense put their offense in better situations. They weren't just going for sacks. They were going for sack strips. They were causing turnovers, which gave them good field position for easy field goals or touchdowns. And then you had Carolina with the one interception and then the one fumble. But even with those, they were still kind of in Denver's, they're in their own territory, not in Denver's territory. So they had to kind of work to get there. So it's all about, I'm not going to say luck, but I mean, certain things got to bounce your way. Carolina had a missed field goal. Denver completed all their field goals. Carolina had fumbles that went their way and had fumbles that didn't go their way. And Denver had, they capitalized on every single situation, just about every single situation. And Carolina couldn't capitalize on the Denver mistakes at all. And those are basically the game, because guess what? Both offenses stunk. I mean, woo! There were times where both showed little splashes. Peyton showed splashes of his greatness, and Cam showed his arm and had lots of big runs after the catch by again and all that. But besides those, probably a good 6 or 7 handful of decent plays combined from both teams' offense. After that, it was straight defense. It was straight grinded out, get what you can. There was a time when Peyton Manning and the Broncos, I believe, were up by, I want to say it was 16-10, and they ran 3 straight runs. It was 3rd and 9. You thought, oh well, they're gonna go for the pass. Nope, they run the ball again, because they know that the defense has protected them this whole entire year. And guess what? It did the same thing today against Cam. And like I said, big ups to the Denver Broncos. They deserve this victory from start to finish. They're the more hungry team. They're the more well-rounded team. The depth is what have everything. I think Panthers have better stars, more stars, but the Broncos have more depth, more players per position. So like I said, there's only one Luke Kuechly, but there's a lot of just good guys playing for the Broncos. There's one, Morgan for the secondary, Josh Morgan for Carolina, but then there's a lot of good guys for Denver. They're more in depth, so they can come at you in more ways. So that was crazy. That was entirely crazy. That Denver's defense, I'm still baffled about how bad Carolina looked against that defense. When it comes to Peyton Manning, they're not going to say whether he had a bad game or not. They're going to say, you know what? That's Peyton Manning, the 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. One with the Colts, one with the Broncos. And we're talking about Colts. I know Jim Irsay's got to be rolling in his grave. Well, besides the fact that he's still alive, but if he had a grave that he was just digging out of the blue, he might jump into it, tell someone to pour dirt over it, and then he'll start rolling in his grave. He's gonna be like that, which is weird. But anyways, yeah. So Jim Irsay's got to be kicking himself right now. He should never let Peyton go. Peyton's had some good years, but that's another story for another topic for another day. We might talk about it on the last one, because Joshua Neville is my homeboy. He's a big Peyton Manning fan, and for some reason we always get on Peyton Manning, no matter what we're talking about. But we're going to talk about Peyton Manning's legacy. The man is obviously an icon, win or loss. I mean, he's played a role in everyone's hearts or minds the last 15 to 16 years, especially minds. A great guy, stand-up guy. That's why I said I thought Carolina was going to win. Like I said, I'm wrong, but I was rooting for the Broncos because I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I love me some Peyton Manning. He's my second favorite quarterback of all time. Of course, it's Drew Brees is first. Who that? You know what I'm saying? But Peyton Manning is my favorite, second favorite quarterback of all time that I love. And I was rooting. I wanted him to get his, get that ring, man. Go ahead and get that second ring so you can, all the doubters and all the naysayers can stop. I can care less what you did, man, in this game. He made enough to win. That's all that matters. He did just enough. And yes, it's sad to say that Peyton Manning is now a game manager. But, hey, he's a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback and arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. And I have much love and much appreciation for him. This Super Bowl puts him on top of Mount Rushmore of the NFL. Now, I can officially say that Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time. I can care less what he did for this Super Bowl. Don't worry about it. No one cares. He's a 39-year-old quarterback, who has a bad neck, a bad arm, arthritis everywhere, what it seems like, but he got it done. That's all that matters. A few times he showed sparks this season, week 2 against Kansas City, the last week of this regular season to bring them back to win that game against San Diego. I mean, but the guy showed guts. He showed heart. When most people would quit, he came back, took over the starting job, got this team Super Bowl victory that they deserve. Now the offense played like poo. Both of them. I mean, it got to a point where you're just saying, Peyton, hold on to the ball. Don't turn it over. We got this. I'm pretty sure he was thinking that. I don't think that Coach Kubiak had the guts to tell Peyton, hey man, just don't turn the ball over. Because he knows that Peyton's savvy. He knows this. Peyton knows. Don't turn the ball over. The way the defense was playing, they got your back, man. And I think Peyton understood that. So they took no chances because they knew that defense was all over Cam. And they said, well, we don't trust Cam putting it on us. So let's go ahead and just let our defense win this game for us. That's exactly what they did. I think Peyton Manning now is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. And yes, I'm including the postseason now. He is over 500 in the postseason, 14-13. So you got to give the man some credit. I mean, even though he's had a rough in the postseason, he still has 2 Super Bowl rings. And I think, in my opinion, they're saying, well, should he retire or should he not? Brother, man, you better go on ahead and hang it up. Hit that AARP and get that retirement special roller, man. You got other avenues to go into. The man is talented. I mean, I've seen his SNL skits, hilarious. I've seen his commercials, hilarious. So I think Peyton Manning should hook it up. I mean, hang him up. Right off into the sunset on that Bronco. We ain't talking horses, we're talking Broncos. Right off on your Bronco, man. Call it a day, man, because you deserve it. You are the greatest quarterback of my generation that I've ever seen. And I love me some Peyton Manning. And I think he deserved it, not for his play, but just for him. I was tired of hearing the Tom Brady's and all that. I always thought that Peyton Manning was in the Tom Brady system. Peyton's had a few bad defenses throughout his years. Trying to do it on his own, and with that being said, he couldn't do anything by himself. It takes a team to win a Super Bowl. I think Tom Brady had an overall better team all those years and all those decades. I mean, nothing against the Patriots. They've been a dominant brand forever now, and they deserve every single championship they got. Mostly, I'm not going in there though. But Peyton Manning, get your rings. Give big middle fingers to the Colts and to all the doubters and all that. And I got mad love, mad respect, man, and much love. Now we're saying that we're going into the past. I mean, the future now, because now we're thinking that Peyton Manning might retire, might not. Let's talk about where does the Carolina Panthers go from now. And I think one big area that they need is screams out loud. I mean, I know they missed Kelvin Benjamin, and he made a big difference from last year to this year with his absence. And he was one of the top rookies last year. But I don't think he would have made a big difference in this particular game just because Cam could not get the ball to anybody in time. That being said, they need wide receiver help big time. I mean, they had to go in the draft. I think they're going to free agency. They need wide receivers. I mean, they got Greg Olsen, who's a great tight end, one of the best tight ends in the game, but even he cannot account for the lack of wide receiver depth that they have. When you're throwing to Corey Brown, aka Philly Brown, and you're throwing to Ted Ginn Jr., and they're your two main wide receivers, you're not doing nothing right. I mean, the running game made it for it, but if you want to win the Super Bowl, and it shows, you want to win the Super Bowl, you got to have more than just average wide receivers playing. You got to have some guys. I mean, there were miss catches, drop balls, a lot of fumbling going on. So they need wide receiver depth. I think that's where they're going. And as for Denver, whether they keep Peyton or not, I still think with the same offense going on. I think Peyton's going to retire. I'm about 99% sure he's going to retire. You get Brock Osweiler, you didn't have anybody in that Gary Kubiak system. It's more run oriented and it's more play great defense. You got Wade Phillips as your defensive coach. So you got Von Miller who's going to get paid. The man's going to get paid some money, and I respect that. So that 114 that Sue got this year for the Dolphins, it's going to look like chump change when it comes down to Von Miller. You got DeMarcus Ware, so you know for the next 2 or 3 years they'll be set with a great defense. If they get Brock Osweiler, they'll still be a dominant team. I think Brock Osweiler has the better arm, not as savvy in the mind as Peyton Manning, but Brock Osweiler will be okay unless they want to go a different route and go for a quarterback. So I still see both teams being a threat next year. Unfortunately for my Saints, I see Carolina still being a threat as well. But both teams have a good chance. And we're going to talk about the future. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Well, I say who's going to face each other next year, because we don't know who's going to win. Can't predict that. But we can sort of predict who's going there. I think Vegas has it as the Patriots and the Panthers. Well, right now, I'm going with the Packers and the Patriots for 2017 in Houston, Texas, Reliance Stadium. That's the question of the day. The question of the day is, who do you have representing both NFC and AFC for next year's Super Bowl in Houston, Texas, 2017 in Reliance Stadium? I would like to know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, man. Share it with the world, man. Like I said, I have the Patriots and the Packers. You never know. Free agency can turn everything around. I think the Packers will do some things. I don't know. But you can never count out Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I know. We're going to rate the Super Bowl 1 to 10. This is our first Super Bowl pre-show game. And this is one of many years upcoming. I am declaring and decreeing that. But I got to give it a 7. Very defense oriented. The reason why I gave it a 7 and not some higher is because both offenses just sucked. It was hard to watch if you're an offensive lover, but if you're a defensive guy like me, you love the game. So those two guys, Cam and Peyton, had it rough. But of course, with Peyton coming on top, man, Super Bowl champion, Von Miller MVP. The Denver Broncos, like I said, beat the Carolina Panthers 24-10, and some would call it upset. I wouldn't call it upset. I thought it'd be a close game with Carolina winning. I was wrong, but Denver Broncos deserved everything. So we rated the Super Bowl 7 out of 10. Like I said, question of the day, let me know who's going to win the Super Bowl. Not win it, but just go there. You can still say win if you want to. It's up to you. Like I said, as always, this is a great show. I did it pretty fast today just because I don't like having those long shows. But if you want to see me on Facebook, my name is Carlos Clayton. You want to see me on Snapchat, it is Carlos UST 1988. I repeat, Carlos UST 1988. If you want to see me on what is that? It's Facebook. There is Snapchat. There's Twitter. Carlos Clayton _ Boy, I can't forget Twitter, man. Hit me up, man. Reach me up. Like and subscribe. Like I said, like and subscribe. It's a great show. This is our 3rd episode. This is the 3rd of many more to come, man. So, this is Uneducated Sports. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. Hope you guys have a wonderful time in the Super Bowl. Shout out to the Broncos fans. Your team deserved it, man. And guess what? The NFL law has great regular seasons and great playoffs. And with that, wait until next year. Guess what? Basketball is coming. So all sports fans, stay smart, stay educated.